The U.S. solar industry has just come off the best quarter in history, installing more solar this quarter in the first 3 months of 2023 than were installed nationwide prior to 2012. Local opposition to large-scale solar and wind projects is widespread and growing, according to a recent study by the Columbia Law School. And fossil fuel power plants are being retired at a faster rate than can be replaced by renewable energy projects, leading to concern that we're going to experience widespread grid instability over the next several years. I'm Jay Warmke with Blue Rock Station, and this is the news from the solar industry for the week of June 12th. The U.S. had its best quarter ever this year in the first 3 months of this year, according to a study by Wood Mackenzie for the Solar Energy Industries Association. Residential solar installations grew at a rate of about 30%, and commercial systems at about 12%, and they combined accounted for about 54% of all new electrical energy generating capacity. The reason why there is such a surge in growth really has to do with the fact that the supply chain issues have worked themselves out, and there was a lot of pent-up demand. Also, the IRA has been promoting solar and wind development with a lot of new incentives. That's increasing the installation demand. At the same time, the IRA has put incentives in place for U.S. manufacturing of solar products, and we've seen a dramatic increase in the amount of U.S. products, U.S. manufactured products that are available. In fact, it's projected that over the next 3 years, we'll see about a six-fold increase in U.S. manufacturing capacity, growing from about 9 gigawatts of capacity currently to about 60 gigawatts of capacity by 2026. Of all of the states, Florida leads the nation in solar installations, outpacing second place California by about 70%. Energy storage industry, however, has not fared so well in the first quarter of this year, falling by about 55% over the same period last year. This caps off a two-quarter decline, largely due to the fact that supply chain constraints have been affecting the lithium marketplace. In fact, large demand for lithium, primarily because of electric vehicles, has caused dramatic shortages as well as price increases. In fact, the price of lithium carbonate has risen from about $12,000 a ton in March of 2021, to $78,000 per ton in March of 2022. Large orders for lithium batteries can be delayed by as much as a year. Now, the news is not all bad. We're seeing a lot of projects in the pipeline. In fact, currently there are about 8.2 gigawatts of projects under construction. This compares to about 4.5 gigawatts that were installed in 2022. And there are scheduled about 92 gigawatts, or about 10 times as much, for the U.S. Of projects, of storage projects, from 2023 through 2027. Local opposition is growing against large-scale wind and solar projects, according to a study by the Columbia Law School. They tracked about 293 projects that are on hold due to opposition in about 45 states. The opposition ranges from it's an eyesore to it will disrupt the tranquility of rural life to concerns over wildlife. The restrictions are largely local in nature, not statewide. And they range from temporary moratoria on the development of these projects to outright bans, or putting in place restrictions that are so restrictive that it is effectively a ban on development of these systems. And speaking of opposition to renewable energy, the Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives have, for the second time, tried to overturn the Inflation Reduction Act. They tried to overturn it during the debt ceiling confrontation. They failed there. So now legislation has been introduced in the House Ways and Means Committee to overturn or repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. President Biden has vowed that he will veto any bill that comes to him that tries to eliminate the Inflation Reduction Act. Fossil fuel generating capacity in the United States is being retired at a rate that is faster than it can be replaced by renewable energy generating capacity, which has led to concerns that we're going to see a grid that is less reliable, less robust over the next few years. It is anticipated that the demand for electricity will double between now and 2050 as we move towards the electrifying everything movement. For example, in the state of New York, currently only about 10% of all of the homes heat with electricity. That will increase to about 90% by 2050 to meet climate targets. At the same time, utilities are saying that they can no longer justify the high cost of coal power plants, so they are retiring them very rapidly. Duke Energy, for example, had a study that shows it costs twice as much to run an existing coal power plant than to develop a new solar array. And natural gas plants are being retired because they're aging out. Currently, about 98% of all generation retirements are fossil fuels. There are plans to retire 173 coal power plants over the next couple of years. That's 54% of all of the coal power plant capacity. Well, that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.